So Harish pretty much covered all the important aspects which you need to know. Basically, he covered what is a startup, who is an entrepreneur, and what is a startup ecosystem. So, by Government of India definition, for you guys, you're all from India here. You are an organization trying to solve a problem, and you have a team. You have a community support. You are less than 10 years old, and your turnover is about more than 100 crores. That is Government of India definition. But this word startup is quite tricky, and let me cover all the angles which is complementing what Harish just mentioned. So most people have a lot of wrong notions about startup and entrepreneurship and startup ecosystem. So when I say I'm going to solve a problem, let's say there is a COVID-19 vaccine distribution problem, and I try to solve that. I get 10 people together, and let's say somebody is ready to give me 1 crore rupees, and they say, take this money, take these 10 people, and then you're supposed to distribute this to so many thousand people within 1 week. Now, if I do that, am I an entrepreneur or am I not? So that's a question. I Does anybody want to take a shot and answer that? Do you think I'm an entrepreneur if I want to distribute a vaccine to, so let's say 10,000 people? I have 10 member team, and some investor has given me 1 crore rupees. Do you think I'm an entrepreneur? uh, does anybody want to take a shot here? The answer is pretty simple. I'm an entrepreneur, yes or I'm no. Okay, Pankaj Munda sir says yes. Yes, a lot of yeses here. Fantastic. Yes. Okay, great. So I checked the box, okay, Anand Kumar, very interesting. One no. Okay. So I'm trying to solve a burning problem. I was able to raise money. I'm able to build a team, and I'm able to go and distribute this. So this is good. I have a mixed answer. The audience is thinking amazing. I would say I'm entrepreneurial in thinking. I'm basically entrepreneurial because I'm solving a problem. I'm solving a problem, but after that 1 crore rupees is over, what am I going to do? Let's say that 1 crore rupees is over. Am I going to go back and raise more money? Am I going to hire more people? Am I going to make profit on this vaccination? Because today in India, nobody wants to make money on vaccination per se, except large corporations, because your volume is very high. Today, people want to save lives. So, this particular situation, you're deploying a solution. It's not really a profitable business. You're deploying a solution. You become a non-profit, or you become a solution deployer. So essentially, you're not a startup, you're a solution builder. But are you an entrepreneur? Of course you're an entrepreneur. Of course you're an entrepreneur. Whenever there is a problem, only an entrepreneur will stand up and build a solution. Everybody complains. Some people will solve, but they don't have courage to deploy. Entrepreneur is the person in the middle of the pandemic, everybody is scared. He will stand up and say, hey, I'm going to solve this problem. 1,000 people don't have vaccine. I will go and make sure they get vaccine. So being entrepreneurial in thinking does not make you a startup founder. They are two different things. Large companies like Accenture, TCS, Google, Facebook, they're all paying a lot of money to people who are entrepreneurial in thinking. Now, if you look at this chart, this the person here is Professor Ramesh Raskar. This is Astroteller, the person. He is the founder of Google, the Google X. So that is where this whole idea of 10x thinking it came. He's building future generation technologies at Google. And this lady, she worked for the president of United States. Now these people are here in a lab, they're deploying a solution. And what Professor Ramesh, this is probably a Google campus, this is a Google campus. So Professor Ramesh Raskar here, a lot of people know him. He's the founder of the REDX methodology. He was also one of the people who deployed lot of solutions in Kumbh Mela. So he built pop-up city. Within few days, you build an entire new city for 30 million people in Kumbh Mela. And then after Kumbh Mela is over, that city goes away. So it's a temporary city. And a lot of planning goes into it. 2 years of planning. This Kumbh Mela is all about solutions, only solutions. How do I transport medicine? How do I make sure the people don't die in the crowd? How do I make sure everybody gets food? How do I make sure nobody gets disease? So this did not give rise to a lot of startups, few startups. Why only few startups? Because not every idea becomes a sustainable business. When you are able to solve a problem, when you are able to get a team together, when you are able to make sure every customer, in your case right now, anybody who wants to get a vaccine is your customer. When you have this and you make profit, and because of the profit you're able to survive to the next level, whether your company becomes a bigger company or your company gets acquired by Google, or your company is acquired by some other company, or there may be a lot of ways a company can grow. So, or you partner with another company, you merge with another company, any of these, then you are a startup. You have to show profit. End of the day, if nobody is willing to pay for your service, you are not a startup. You have to have cash. Now, this is Professor Ramesh Raskar's chart. So the first thing he does is, every student wants to innovate. And anytime there's a problem, every student wants to come up with a solution. They have some solution, in India, I know people complain, like Harish said, we have people who solve problem, we have people who complain, we have people who actually, identify the problem. There are so many kinds of people, but everybody has some idea. Now, do you think every idea will become a startup? Well, the answer is, the idea which can be built with the least cost, which has the largest impact, most likely it will become a startup. That is why in Kumbh Mela, they came with so many ideas, like 40 plus entrepreneurial people built entrepreneurial solutions. Some 10 startups really made it and they became profitable. So if you are a startup founder, never forget your balance sheet. Now, this is a very simple chart. Who is a businessman? Who is an entrepreneur? Actually, there is a new economy. It's called infopreneur. Don't have to worry about it. This is more for people who teach about entrepreneurship or who educate people about things. There is an entire layer of people, using this information technology. They are becoming infopreneurs. They play with data. Data is the new electricity. So they are infopreneurs. Now, let's not worry about infopreneurs. Who is an entrepreneur? So, if you look at a businessman, he buys a watermelon for $3 and he sells it for $4. He makes a profit margin. But an entrepreneur, he's able to look at a need. Why do people want a watermelon? Because they're thirsty. They want to eat some fruit which is cold. They want to feel hydration. They want to drink water, but they also want something sweet. So instead of giving them watermelon, I can give them juice directly. Cutting a watermelon takes time. And then you have to make sure you have to wash it, serve it properly, remove the seeds, so much work. And then you have to trash it. Instead of that, I'll just give a watermelon juice in a disposable cup, and I'm going to charge $8. $8 because anybody who has had watermelon juice wants to go back to the same rack and buy it again. Now, when that customer comes, I'll probably give him something else with that, and I will increase my profit and I will grow. That becomes a sustainable business. So when anything becomes sustainable, then you call your business a startup. Then you become from entrepreneur to startup founder. So then somebody will come, hey, last year you had 50 customers, this year you're having 500 customers, and you're still growing. Let me put some money in your stall. Your stall doesn't look very pretty, make it look nice, and I will pay you money to publish flyers, or I'll make sure you have 10 carts and you can serve your watermelon juice. That is your investor. When an investor comes, his sole aim is, if you have 500 customers, next year I want 5,000 customers. In 3 years, I want 50,000 customers. So that is how your startup journey works. And when you reach 1 lakh customers, that is when some very big company will come and say, hey, let me acquire you. Or if you don't want to get acquired, then you become like Reliance, or you become like Ford, or General Motors or GE. They have not sold to anybody. They're growing. GE Capital, GE Industries, GE Medical Imaging. So G is GE General Electric, but they developed all these branches. So from watermelon stall, you will become, maybe you will get a watermelon canned juice, maybe you'll get a watermelon cart. So you keep growing. So that's how a startup becomes a large corporation. Now, yeah, does anybody have any questions? Any questions? Okay. Now, all right. I have one question for the audience here. Why do you think startups fail? Why is it that not all successful, all startups are successful? Why does this topic today say we need ecosystem? Why is it so important? Why do startups fail? Does anybody have any idea? Have you seen lack of consistency? Very good. Very good answer. Lack of long-term vision. Fantastic. Fantastic. Anything else? It's a hard one. I'm sure a lot of people are thinking. You can type whatever you. Lack of innovation. Very good. The only reason Kodak company failed was they did not see that cameras can become you digital. They thought analog cameras. Weak management team. Very correct. Very true. All the time good people leave companies because of politics. No hard work, risk taking. Harish, very good. No ecosystem, lack of proper marketing. Correct. Lack of capital, 100%. Strategy, lack of marketing. Correct. So very good. So these are burning problems. Like for a startup, any of this is like burning problem. Ran out of cash. Most common reason startups fail. So if you look at this chart, uh, most of the things, actually these are top 20 reasons I have not covered. It's not covered all the things you said, right? It's there in this top 20 reason. Lack of right team. Correct. Very true. No team. Very correct. Because I've been seeing, I've tried to I got a lot of startup offers myself from a lot of people. The only reason I said no was the founder is not treating his team members properly. I'm observing how they treat other team members. If they don't treat others properly, if I join that team, they will not treat me properly. So I'm not going to join that startup, because startup is very risky business. You give a lot of your life into it. It's like a family member. Once you have a startup, it's like having a child. You cannot ignore it, because you won't have a paycheck. You don't have anybody supporting you. Any small problem happens, you don't have financial support. It's very, you're walking on a tightrope. Startup is like that. In that, if you don't have right team, if you don't have right strategy, you don't have right marketing, your team member is not working hard, it's not a joke, it's not fun. So the top reason here, why startups fail today is because people want to build something. They're not checking if the customer wants it, right? Today I'll say, hey, I want to do something for COVID. I know computer coding. I'm going to build an app, and I'll build an app for listening to music. Do you think you are going to be successful in a COVID situation? You want to build an app for music? Maybe you can, if you're working with the mental health and wellness community. If people are very stressed, you want to give meditation music, fine. Or you want to entertain people, fine. But if you're building something which is not relevant, if you're building something which is not going to add value, nobody will buy it. In COVID pandemic, most important is getting vaccination. You know, if you're a driver and you're driving the vaccination, or if you're a transport company, people will pay you. These large vaccine corporations, they'll pay you so much money and say, hey, go drop the oxygen cylinders, oxygen concentrators, we need a plasma donation, go and do this. So these are the companies, the whole healthcare, remote monitoring, COVID test kits, food supplies. People are wearing shield and mask, they don't have time to eat food. What is the easiest way people can get food? Can they drink the food instead of opening the packet and eating? Because you're wearing gloves, can you sip your food and have energy and work in the hospital 18 hours? These are all the businesses which need um, which need to become startups or startup like during pandemic. So the top reason startup fail is there is no market need. You learn something in college, you want to build it, there is nobody to buy it. So if you put first 2 years of your income into something which nobody is going to buy, then your startup is definitely going to fail. So all these things, right? Finding your founder, very important. Finding the right team. If you cannot get along with your founder, then there's no startup. So startup journey is pretty up and down. It's not like a straight walk. If you look at these people, Bill Gates or Steve Jobs, or Mark Zuckerberg or Mark Benioff is the founder of Salesforce. They are all people who went through lots of ups and downs. Now, again, I won't go through all this. So we know what entrepreneurial thinking is, we know what a startup is, we know why startups fail. Are you ready to do a startup? When do you know that you're ready to do a startup? Do you like doing something? Do you like working very hard on something without money, without getting paid? And are a lot of people telling you that you're good at that? Then do you understand how money works around what you love to do? So these are all very important questions you need to ask yourself. If you love doing something, everything is okay, but you don't get paid, you are not a startup. You cannot be a startup. Somebody has to pay for your services. So first time founders, right, they need to check these things. Now I'll just give you an example of how people can not be a startup and still be successful. Because startup is the first thing everybody thinks is close to building a solution. Now I have this chart here, choices for innovators. So innovator is a person who builds a solution which is usable by the other person. You can build a solution which can go in a university publication which nobody uses also. So an entrepreneur is an innovator, but an innovator is a person who builds something which is usable by the other person. Innovators are come he's a person who solves a problem, but he's very advanced, he's more sophisticated. Now here entrepreneurs are born in different places, and startups can be in different ways. For example, the reason you need to know this is, let's say you invent something in your lab. If you invent something in your lab, if you build something with students, do you think you can do a startup from that? Or when do you go to a university with your idea? So for example, can you tell me any startup which was founded in the university by university professors, where where students founded a startup in the university? Anybody knows? So I'm trying to tell how startups can be found in a university, or what kind of problem they should be working on. Does anybody know any startup which is founded in a university or in a college? It should be like a startup. I know today you said Paytm, Oyo, C6. So why do you say that C6 was founded in the university? This is Dr. Virthaval Nalwadi. You can type what do they do in one sentence, or you can unmute and you can tell. No problem. Go ahead.
Madam, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Uh,
Go ahead.
it was started by IIT Madras students,
Very
and
good.
they are cultivating seaweeds, and from that they are producing biofuels and biofertilizers.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So great. So it is a startup. It is a bona fide startup, correct?
Ha,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, fantastic. So there, yeah, this is a chart again by Professor Askar. What he says is, if the problem is unknown and the solution is unknown, the good place to experiment is university. Go there, experiment, find the solution, then make it a startup. Because if you experiment in your own house, you don't have university ecosystem. You have to build a lab in your house. That's what Harish was saying. Incubator and accelerator are one ecosystem like that. For example, Google developers group, this is an ecosystem in the entire world. People are using to do software startups. They come and get all the support they want to deploy a software solution. Like that, if you're inventing something, university is a very good place, because university has lab, they have faculty members, they have library, they have they are financed to do experiments, they have license, they have certification. If you're building some new next generation electronic vehicle, new battery technology, university is a very good place to try, because all PhD, there are many PhDs, faculty members, professors, they understand new technologies, unknown areas very, very well. Now, if you build, let's say, a simple service, then simple service like food delivery, or let's say simple service like booking something, it's kind of non-technical. Or let's say you're caregiver, you go to people's home and you give them some sort of care, health care. So you're monitoring a patient like a nurse. So these are all non-technical. You become a service startup, right? If it is technology, you let's say you built this next generation technology in artificial intelligence, and you're solving a problem in data science, you become a tech startup. However, let's say you work for Infosys or Wipro or Accenture or Paytm, or some sort of new hot blockchain technology, in one of these big companies, Google or Facebook, you can still be like an entrepreneur, but you will be in R&D, but you will not be a startup. There is another concept where you can be a startup inside a very big company like Google venture, Facebook venture, Amazon capital. They all have millions and millions of dollars. They want to invest in startups, and if they find a very, very good employee who is very smart, they will make him implement startup inside the organization. For example, let's say Narayan Murthy has $2 million. He wants to try out some new voice social media platform, voice based social media platform. He will give this $2 million to some student who's come from IIT Madras. He'll say, hey, work in Infosys for 2 years, build this platform with your team members, get your IIT students from wherever you are, and come and work in Infosys. 2 years, I'll pay your housing, accommodation, whatever you need, Amazon workstation, I will pay you. So these people become intrapreneur. You are an entrepreneur, you have a startup idea, but you're inside a corporation. So your corporation becomes your ecosystem. So we met all three criteria: startup, ecosystem, entrepreneur, all three, but inside a very big corporation. So essentially, guys, what I'm saying is, try to find ways not to fail. You don't have to come out on your own, give up your job, put all your savings into a startup and become a founder. You can be in an Infosys or a Google or a Facebook. You can still be, it's called a spin-off, you can still be a startup founder inside a corporation, because you'll get paycheck. Most important, they'll give you salary. And then your idea, right, even if you come out and do a startup, you will get acquired by a large corporation. It's just that that exit will make you a millionaire overnight. You'll become an overnight millionaire. You'll have so many crores of rupees. You will have a lot of money. But then what are you going to do with that money? You'll eventually invest it in some sort of startup or some sort of venture. Somewhere it will go. So that is the high risk takers approach. If you don't want to take that high risk approach, you want an ecosystem, then this is what you do. The other ecosystems are incubator and accelerator. What incubator and accelerators do is, incubators are founded usually by investors, serial entrepreneurs, faculty members from business schools. They have a lot of industry experience. They come and they invest money. They give all facilities for a startup founder to start a company. If they go wrong, they will correct them. They'll connect them with the right customers. Most important thing incubator accelerator will do is, they will give you guidance in this journey. This is the journey: customer discovery, customer validation, customer creation, company building. When you are first time founder, you don't know anything about it. First of all, you will not know how to register company, how to get permission, all these things, where to approach customer, what is the what is the first purchase, what is a purchase order, what is a term sheet. Term sheet means every few years you're raising millions and millions of dollars, and you have to show them how you're using this to make your idea into a product. And you have to show a lot of customers. You have to show that a lot of people are paying you. That is when investor will say, I will fund you. Otherwise they're not even interested in you. So I want to show you what is a pitch deck, which basically what a pitch deck looks like when you pitch to a startup. I think I taught this in Yashwantrao Chauhan, the innovation and incubation, uh, the boot camp which I did. So am I sharing the right one? Why is this getting shared? Sorry guys, 1 second. I'm trying to look at a different. So I wanted to show you what a pitch deck is. What you should tell an investor when you talk to them. So can you see my pitch deck? Okay, here. Can you see this?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So this is a problem statement. This is your solution. This is your product. This is your market. You should know VCs will not be interested in $1 million markets. They want $1 billion. 10 years ago, it used to be 2.5 million dollar market cap. Now they want $1 billion market cap. Some people in Amazon, they want $1 trillion market cap. So you should be able to convince that when you become a really big company, you are capable of making $18 billion here. This is one example. Now I want to show you further on why you're so much better than the other person. What is your business model? Business model means, don't go and say, I'm doing charity, I will give away money, I'm very good person. Nobody will fund you. You are not a startup. If you're a good person, you're a good person. If you're entrepreneurial, you're entrepreneurial. But if you want to raise money, then you can't be good person and you can't be entrepreneurial and full stop. No, you should have a business model. Your entire life as a founder starts when you nail the business model. Until then, you're just a baby. You're taking baby steps. Only when you nail the business model, you become a startup founder. How do you nail the business model? When you see a product market fit. Product market fit means many people want to buy your product. You're in so much demand, you don't have time. You have a server to cater to 100 people. There are 1,000 people knocking, banging on your door. I want your service. I want your service. That is when you are a startup founder. Until then, you are a baby, or you are not showing profit. So this is a funda. You get this right before you step out and sign off from your job and say, I'm going to be a founder. You better explore all the options before you get there. So and then you're supposed to show what is your serviceable address market, total area market, all that. So I think it's not there here, but basically what I wanted to say here is, a pitch deck is much longer than this. When you go to a VC, you should know exactly what you want. I want 2 connections in Google Venture Capital. I want to hire 5 AI developers who know exactly NLP and who are able to set up platform. You should know very clearly when you're doing a startup, I want this guy for 6 months and 2 days. I want him to work for me for 6 months, 2 days. I want him to build this. With this much clarity, if you go to an investor, these things won't happen. Startup journey is a lot of up and down. At least he will start trusting that you did your hard work, and somewhere you become more likely to be successful. So this is what I wanted to share today about your startup and ecosystem and being entrepreneurial. I think Harish covered it very well. My job was much easier. So I want to share one last thing here. This is a very seasoned Silicon Valley investor. I'm writing a book with him. So this is his advice. This is a 5-point advice. Fail fast and often, but have conviction. So when you are like a bona fide startup, you're invested a lot of money and you're totally getting into a startup phase, you're going to fail a lot, but you have to keep going and you have to execute well. Lot of people will be working on the same idea which you're working on. If you're building an app, let's say for an enterprise, for speeding up some application, or for integrating some video application, whatever. So there are thousands of people working on it all over the world. Maybe in your country there are 10 people working on it. You have to have good execution, how you time your product to the market, how you sell, how you use the money in your bank, very important. Then focus on the value. If you talk to a customer about some new feature you built, he will not know, he will not even understand what platform, how genius you are, what you invented in the lab. Nobody cares. Did you solve the problem for the customer? The customer was waiting in line for 1 hour. Did you reduce that wait time to 5 minutes? That's all he cares. I don't care what technology you use. So focus on value. You may have got PhD from some very good university. It doesn't matter. If the customer is not happy with whatever solution you built, then you're not going to succeed as a startup. Don't make assumptions. Talk to customers. So if you're a startup founder or you're building something, if you're not talk to your customer, you will not know what you're building, because customers are their needs are very different. For some people, when you build an interface, the font size is important. They will not buy your solution because the person who is deploying the solution is not nice to them. Customers are very weird. You must talk to them and understand what they want. Then also, if you want to raise a lot of money for your startup, because money is important. Without money, startup will fail. You can't do something which is 10% better or 5% better. It has to be like 10x better, like a lot better. So those are the tips I have for startups here today. I think I'll wrap up my talk with that. um yeah, over to you, Shinde sir. Over to you. Yeah.